Relax, breathe, be still, find your center. This world is chaotic, I know, and I'm sure there's a lot going on that you wish you could change. It's all noisy and your head may be a mess, but it is important that you do not forget your true state, who you really are. This is not you. You know that this is not you. This is a result of external forces clouding your mind and soul. And when that happens, it is easy to get lost and disoriented, and that is exhausting. I know it. However, if you take the time to just be still, to breathe and silence the noise, you will again find your center, as well as the peace and clarity that you have been missing for so long.
Best thing you can do for the rest of your life is to work on your eternal life. That's the alternate orbit that the real titans play in. And so what I'm suggesting is the best way to spend the rest of your life is developing who you are.
Know what your problem is? Your problem is that you don't need to change. You don't need to fix your problems. You don't view the things that are destroying you as something that has to stop. Sure, you have this idea of who you want to be. You have this vision of what you want your life to look like. You like the idea of being this transformed version of yourself, but you don't have to become that. In reality, if you stay the same, life really isn't that bad. You say things like, what's another day? What's another week? Are those the words of somebody who is desperate for change? No, those are the words of somebody who has a vision, but no real intention of materializing it. The reality is, no matter how bad you say you want it, until the pain of staying where you're at is greater than the pain of changing your behavior, that vision you have for your life is always going to remain a vision.
It's nothing more practical than developing a vision. Without a vision, you're chaotic and fragmented and hopeless and disappointed, and someone can stop you just by putting up a single obstacle. You have no forward movement. Your life is a sequence of disappointments and frustrations and tragedies, and you're a leaf blowing in the wind. And that is not what you're called to be.
When you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end, and you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass.
Here's an exercise for you. Take a piece of paper, write at the top, dream list, and then make a list of all your dreams. But what about this and what about that? No, decide what's right before you decide what's possible. Don't decide, well, we can't afford this and we couldn't do that. Stop. That's helplessness. That's habit. That's these old negative habit patterns holding you back. Before you even decide what you want, most people are figuring out why they can't have it. What you do is you say, wait a minute, if I had no limitations, and this is the key, you dream as though you had no limitations. Nothing's holding you back. And ask yourself this question. What one great thing would I dare to dream if I knew I could not fail? What one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? Imagine you were absolutely guaranteed of success in any one thing, big or small, long-term or short-term, in the whole world. What would it be? And write it down. This is the starting point of great achievement, because what will happen is that if you can clearly define that target, you can hit it. You eventually always hit the targets that you set for yourself, but you can't hit a target that you can't see.
Goals become like a magnet. They pull you that direction, and the better you describe them, the more they pull. Believe you can get what you want like a child, not an adult. Adults are too skeptical. So the formula really reads, make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child.
You know, we hit about 3 or 4 or 5 crossroads in our life, and these are major crossroads. You know, you're 20, then you're 30, then you're 40, and you go, oh, They make a mistake at 30 that's going to affect 40. And so the point is, it's all about the comeback. I'm all about that. Like, okay, stop this progress, reverse it before you keep going with it. So I love stories about redemption, like the comeback. Because guys, it's all about the comeback. If I see a fighter, for example, and he's undefeated, oh, he's 44-0 with 44 knockouts, I go, boring. I mean, great athlete, but boring in the sense that I want to see the guy who's lost 10 times come back. Because that's what life is.
Every day, the same answer came back to me. Do you want to be on your deathbed knowing that you could, but you didn't? So why do you care about what people are thinking when they're not trying to go where you're trying to go? I had to stop giving a about people. That was the biggest thing. It was you. So you better figure out who the you are on this journey. And those few people many people don't like you, so be it. But you first have to figure out you, because a lot of people die with a lot of untapped potential because they're trying to be somebody that they're not. So I was able to figure out my own potential by figuring out me. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
If I could do one thing for people to help them be successful, I would take procrastination out of their lives. Because procrastination leads to good intentions. Well, someday, one of these days becomes none of these days. I wish when people procrastinate, they'd just be honest. I wish they would just say, I'm not waiting for tomorrow. I'm never going to do it. You have bought into a lie that someday you're going to do something that you're unwilling to do now. And I can promise you, if you're unwilling to do it today, what makes you think you'll be so good tomorrow that you'll do it? Again, like my mentor John Wooden said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. Well, why is it too late to prepare? Because you didn't prepare on the front end. Get ready.
Start before you're ready. Don't prepare, begin. Remember, the enemy is not your lack of preparation. It's not the difficulty of the project or the state of the marketplace or the emptiness in your bank account. The enemy is resistance.
You truly believe that you have the power within you to change. The first step would be saying, I have to take responsibility for myself right now, because I got to start thinking differently. I got to start acting differently. I got to start feeling different. It's going to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would be doing this. When the person sits through the fire and sits through all of that anxiety, all that hatred, all that anger, and keeps lowering the volume, sooner or later, the body's going to release it.
You're not willing to sacrifice for your goals, then your goal will become the sacrifice. But here's the thing, it's a sacrifice either way. You're gonna either sacrifice momentary pleasure or you're gonna sacrifice your goal.
Next time you worry about someone else judging you, take a second to realize that you're actually judging yourself. Words, opinions, criticisms can only hurt you to the degree that you believe they're true. So ask yourself, why does this sting? What part of me agrees with them? And how can I support myself instead of externalizing this insecurity? When you stop giving so much weight to the opinions of others and start questioning your own instead, you'll see that it's not their judgment that's hurting you at all. It's your own self-doubt. So reframe the narrative and take your power back.
Your life and your growth has to be stored up before it shows up. So when you see somebody that's done something very well, they didn't just start practicing on that yesterday. You're never good the first time. They've been consistent. And because of their consistency, they've arrived to a level that begins to show and display growth and excellence. And that's what I want for you.
So I want to ask you, can you admit something in your life that you don't feel like you deserve or have earned? Can you admit a goal or a dream that you want to chase, but you're feeling like, nah, I can't fly that high. I'm not equipped. I don't really have the ability. I'm not qualified. Can you admit something in your life that guilt is keeping you from getting? Can you admit something that you don't want to start, continue, or finish because you're afraid to? Say it aloud to yourself. Write it down. Confess. Admit it.
You have to push yourself to a point where you have to consider, am I even meant for this? Am I even built for this? This might be too hard. And then you regroup and you recover and you gain the focus back and you gain the ambition back the very next day, and you're doing it over again.
Coming back from the doubt. I'm coming back from the hate. I'm coming back from the depression. I'm coming back from the anxiety. I'm coming back from all the racing thoughts, the challenging thoughts, the intrusive thoughts. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. It's comeback season. It's comeback season. It's a new season. It's a new day. It's a day to smile. It's a day to be in joy. It's a day to laugh. It's a day to cry in joy, in laughter, in life. It's a day to shine, because it's a new season. It's a new me. It's the real me coming out, showing up. That did not shut me up. I'm still chatting. It's a new season.
I would have this anxiety about the future of like, why haven't I made it yet? Why are these other people doing better than me? Like, is this not gonna work? What if I'm on the wrong path? Action alleviates anxiety. The only thing I could control is that I would work, is that I would get better. Whenever you have that feeling that things should be happening faster, use action as your coping mechanism.
You hear this all the time. Don't sweat the small stuff. The 1%ers, the 0.01, they sweat every single detail.
Everybody's afraid of failure. It's embarrassing but the journey to success comes with a lot of what? Failure. So why don't you teach yourself, like I taught myself, is how to fail properly. It's not saying be a failure. You're gonna have to learn how to get up extremely fast, because you are going to have a million setbacks on this journey. And that's how I literally taught myself how to fail first. Because I knew that if I was afraid of failure, I would have never been able to be a Navy SEAL.
That you're not in the dark taking care of you. Like, you're not becoming the giant you're going to be one day. You're not becoming the superstar you're going to be one day. You're so worried about what I see in the light that you're not doing what you need to do to become the person you need to become. So it doesn't bother you that you're not walking in your anointing. You're not walking in your calling gift. This is why you're losing, because you're so worried about what people think about you that you're not in the dark working on you. You're so worried about, and that's why you're losing.
So I just want you to remember that average is the enemy. Success is your responsibility. And change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch.
Eliminate all external distractions and just focus on the process itself and enjoying it every single day. Chopping wood, carrying water. Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up.
I have led a toothless life. A toothless life. I have never bitten into anything. I was waiting. I was reserving myself for later on, and I have just noticed that my teeth have gone.
All fools in life have one thing in common, according to the Stoics. Seneca says what they all have in common is that they're always getting ready to start. They are delaying to live because they think they have the future, they think they have forever. They say, I'm not ready, or they say, I'm going to do it after. I'm going to do it once this thing happens, when conditions are more favorable. They never say to themselves, I'm never going to do it. They say, I'm going to do it later. But no one knows what the future holds. Life is happening right now, this second. In fact, the time that ticks by, the Stoics say, belongs to death. It's dead. It can never be recovered. So don't be a fool. Don't delay. Could be good today, Marcus Aurelius reminds us. But instead, you choose tomorrow.
If it's important to you, stay with it. Keep on cultivating it, slowly, but give yourself some time. But if you really want something, I think this is the way. slowly, steadily, wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly meaning what? There is no doubt there. You are not doubtment. There's no doubt. It just means it hasn't manifested like in the way that it's right in front of the eyes, but just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Don't play small. Play bigger than you are. Understand that you were born to be big. If you're in a room full of giants, you're one of them as well. It has nothing to do with your height or your stature. It has all to do with what you're made of. You're made of determination and of a reserve tank. You can be determined that when you run out of energy, run out of strength, run out of all the other resources, there's more. But you won't know that there's more until you're fractured, where you break from what you were to open up new ground of what you can be. And if you can break ground there, you'll discover that there's a foundation built on will, desire, and fire. From that, you burn up everything that is useless in your life, all the negative stuff, or even trying to run on prove them wrong. At some point, prove yourself right. Believe that you got enough might, enough power, enough joy, enough purpose in you that you can keep going and not be about proving them wrong. Because the truth is, the people you want validation from can never validate you.
Like, if you don't like their life, don't listen to what they say. Like, don't take their advice if you don't like what you see. And so, if everyone around you has a life you don't want, then don't listen to any of their advice. But you have to put blinders on, because there is a period of time where you, I mean, I've said this, but you're not going to be successful enough for the next tier of friends. But you're too different from the friends that you used to have.
I don't quit. I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back. I can get my head back in the game. I gotta figure this shit out. It doesn't mean you leave. It means you study it more. I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. I don't look at anything as failure. Not trying is failure. Failure is a big word that gets people down. We give so much power to words. I don't.
Not everything you do is going to work, and that's exactly how it should be. Every setback is a lesson in disguise, showing you what works, sharpening your strengths, and forcing you to leave the habits that are holding you back. Every step, even the hard ones, are bringing you closer to what you really want. One day it will all make sense, and you'll realize that every challenge was part of the plan. It wouldn't have happened without believing in yourself, without your decision to keep trusting the process. So don't give up now.
Think of the best experiences of your life. Which side of your fear were they on? Were they on the, this is safe and makes me feel comfortable? Or was it, I'm uncomfortable, it's a calculated risk, I'm experiencing fear, and I'm going to find a way to navigate through, over, and around it? 100% of the time, the answer is it's on the other side of it. So why then do we as a culture default to the safety thing? There's something that we know that is not right about that. It is not wired for joy, for freedom, for happiness, for fulfillment. It's not wired for any of the things that we can all obviously say are the best things in life. All of the best stuff in life is on the other side of our comfort zone.
I'm gonna give you this quote. You don't drown by falling in the water. You only drown when you stay in it. You need to get up and you need to start rebuilding.
Elevation takes place in life when you realize that you don't need an elevator. You need to take the staircase, but instead of looking at the staircase and how many twists and turns life will throw at you, just take one step. And after you make a step, you'll find out that you're in step. And when you get your steps together, you'll find that you can have a path. And if you can have a path, you can do the math. If I did 1, I can do 2. If I did 3, I can do 4. If I can do 5, I can do more. Everything that you have is about developing you into the man or woman you were meant to be. Every wound is an opening for light to come in.
There's a lot of things that you've done in life that you would do differently, but the only reason why you know you would do them differently is because you learned from it. This experience, this thing that you regret, is teaching you something. And perhaps what it's teaching you is that your intuition has been right all along. You just need to slow down and find the courage to listen to it. It is never too late to clean up a mess. It is never too late to learn from a mistake. You can push past this. You can learn from it. So ask yourself this: what if this mistake isn't the end of the story, but the beginning of a whole new chapter?
I know it feels like you have all the time in the world, but you don't. So stop playing it so cool. Catch the moments of your life. Catch them while you're young and quick. Because sooner than you know it, you'll be old and slow. And there'll be no more of them to catch.
You don't have forever. You don't. You gotta go for it. You got to get what you got, what you have come to get now. It ain't never over it. It's never how you start. It's how you finish.
If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.
Your biggest enemy is you. Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything. You battling yourself. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
I just want to remind you, because I've spent a lot of time in my life sitting around wanting things to change and not being able to make them change and not thinking I could. And I wish somebody had told me that earlier sometimes, that in order for something to change, there needs to be change.
You get one chance at life, bro. You don't get to redo this over again. You can't afford to be scared. Because if you die tomorrow, then what? Then what? I'd rather be on my deathbed knowing, you know what? I lived the life I wanted to live. I did the things I wanted to do. And I'm content with it. Being on your deathbed saying like, man, I wish I would have done this. I shouldn't listen to them. Why was I scared to do that? I ain't take a chance. I ain't take a risk. You can't live life like that, bro.
True strength comes from mastering your thoughts, not trying to control your circumstances. You see, circumstances will have you confused and thinking that when moments go cold and it feels like the winter of your life, that you can't summer up, that you can't summon up the warmth and the heat of life to keep going, to ignite the fire within so that you can burn life on the outside and draw others in. If it can dim your light because you think that your might is controlled by your circumstances, it's wrong. Circumstances can change like a season change, but if you stay in it long enough, you'll realize that circumstances will have you seasoned. That way that you can taste and see that not only is life good, God is good, and life is possible for you at a whole different level because you master your thoughts. And if you can master your thought, you can master the way. And when you find your way, you can point to others in the right direction. It's about understanding that strength is not measured by how much weight you can carry, but how much weight you can withstand.
Picture yourself 5 years out, and you've let your bad habits take full control. But you're 5 years older. What's the little hell your whims are aiming at? That's your destiny? You want that? Think about it. Think about exactly what sort of hell you'd involve yourself in. You know. You bloody well know where your bad habits are likely to. There's lots of hells. Think that through and decide if that's where you want to go. And then when you're tempted, you can think, oh, that's a pathway to hell. Maybe no.
And though we might want our goals and accomplishments to arrive immediately, maybe a smarter strategy is to stretch out the achievements of our dreams. We shouldn't wish for overnight success, as we would then need to be able to beat it pretty soon, lest we feel like we're declining. Instead, slow, consistent progress is a more reliable way to maintain satisfaction. Purposely aiming for slow success strategy may actually ensure that you always feel like you're going in the right direction.
Loneliness is the price of ambition. Pleasure is the price of discipline. Novelty is the price of loyalty. Discretion is the price of trust. And so many people want the benefits of these traits, but can't afford the cost or the price. They're not willing to be discreet, but they want someone to trust them. They can't hold someone's secrets. They want somebody to be loyal to them at home, but then they want the thrill of the new relationship. They want the benefits of discipline, of consistency, but they can't trade the pleasure in the moment. They want ambition, but they're not willing to pay the price of being lonely, of being the exception. They want fame, but then all of a sudden they are startled when they realize that they have no privacy. And so each of these things are trade-offs. Each of these ideals are not binary. And it's not hard work, it's how hard do you have to work and how long do you have to work. And if you're not willing to make the trade, fine, but don't bitch about it.
You're born with talent. You know, it's like there's certain things that you just do naturally. You were gifted with a talent and you have it. But skill is acquired through discipline. And, you know, I've never seen myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is I'm willing to die in the process of acquiring skill, right? When I look at people and I see things, I don't feel like I can't. Whether or not I will is something different, but I don't ever feel like I can't.
There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. There's not gonna be any team support. There's not gonna be any family support. There's not gonna be any friend support. There's gonna be times where you've got to go and do it yourself, and you gotta do it alone. And those are the times that make a difference. Those are the times that count. Those are the times where you have to dig deep yourself to get the job done. And if you can make that happen, you will win.
The biggest limits you will ever face are the ones you put on yourself. We all have that voice inside our head telling us what we can't do. But the reality is, those limits aren't real. They're just stories you've been telling yourself for too long. The only way to break through is to challenge them, push past the discomfort, and go beyond what you think is possible. What you'll realize is those limits were never there to begin with. They're just walls you've built in your own mind. Stop living by old rules that you've outgrown, because you're so much more capable than you think.